Hey everyone, Fatty from Pack a Punch Traders here. Just want to make a Sunday video lesson going over some of the trades of the week, not that many, as well as some of the plays I'm looking for tomorrow. We'll just dive right in. First trade of the week, we got Muln. We had this nice, solid move here, and ever since the fade started coming in, I was just looking for failure to break down for it to get above VWAP and hold VWAP with solid volume for a quick bounce. I was looking for it on the 7th here. I noticed the failure to break down VWAP compared to the previous days when it was fading. It kept using VWAP as resistance. Now we're using it as support. I was just looking for a quick snipe to maybe 190s, somewhere in that area. I end up taking a quick trade from around 78. Where are we at? Down here when it was failing to break down, and took it off at 89. So left a lot on the table, and this thing is now failing to break down. But I just took my quick snipe and was trying to get in near the bottom. I could have been more patient in hindsight with it. Could have traded it as a late day play here, but I just saw the failure to break down. I saw I had good risk reward here right at the open, something I typically don't do when I buy. But I saw the failure to break down with some strong volume, decided to take it. It failed to break down here. Volume came back, it held trend, and we get the nice rip that I sold into. So for me, I saw this as a pretty great trade in around 78, I believe. What was my entry? 78, 76. So I was going to be risking around 3 cents, risking that day low here when it breaks down, if we were to do that. But I had at least 10 cents looking to gain, so I had solid 3 to 1 risk reward, and it kept holding trend. So in general, this is a great entry point. If not here, at least when it fails to break down here and it keeps holding VWAP, you can at least risk around 78, mid 78s, and it'll be a slightly better percentage loss if it were to happen, right? I believe if I did that math right, I'm not sure, but yeah, and you get the quick move here. So that's Muln, just trying to buy low, sell high into this one, just trying to capture that short squeeze. And I'll actually go over this one real quick because this is a potential play for tomorrow as it failed to break down. I took it off my radar. It was failing and fading, so I thought it was done. This thing is a nice Friday short squeeze going 50%. It's still holding up near the highs, so I think this could be a potential failure breakdown. Previous high daybreak over 150 to test the 170s, 80s, maybe two. I'm probably going to be waiting for a multi-day breakout over 195 just to play it safe. There are other better plays that I could trade in the morning. In the meantime, if this does hold and get to that 2 area, but this is something to keep an eye on as well. Insane volume coming back, rotating the float many times over. So we'll see if this could get the volume it needs to get back and break out. Next play that I had was 9. This was in the energy sector. Things were moving, Indo, IMPP, all those great plays. And where are we at here? What day? The 7th, 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 7th. This one, okay. So relatively low float, strong sector. How did I trade this? Okay, so I got this as a VWAP reclaim here. Okay. So you see, what I'm buying is right near key areas. That's also what I want to go over as well in this video lesson with some of my entries. Of course, I always sell too soon. I don't think bigger picture. I take my quick snipes into gains. That's great, whatever. But my entries, they're all right near key areas where it's now showing me that it could break out. And it also offers solid risk reward. For example, if this play, I was risking more, I probably would not have taken it. We got a solid break here and hold at 267, and we get this choppiness in the 270s. All right, that's where I traded it, right? 313, yes, in this quick move. I remember this now. So my risk was roughly 10, 15 cents, looking to get definitely triple that. So solid risk reward 3-1. But also we got these higher lows. Volume starts coming in. Buying in that consolidation where it's a little choppy, trying to figure out if it wants to hold or not. Where are we at? Let me zoom in. In this little choppy mess where volume's coming back and it's still holding VWAP. Could have potentially entered there as well. That would have offered a greater risk, but that would have been a little bit more chasing. But the indicators are there for it, showing that it might be holding up. Volume coming in, failing to break down, open price hold, VWAP reclaim. Just a lot of bullish things going for it. Right sector, good float. But I just want to go over the entry level. It being right here, right near the key area around VWAP, where it's finally breaking above. It really sets yourself up to get decent exits. Even if you sell too soon, you're in at a good price, and it's nothing to worry about because you're not chasing. You're buying it pretty low, right near a key level where there's some solid support, good risk reward. It really sets up a more relaxing trade. And if it does fail, you're not taking that much risk. And simple as that. When you set yourself up with good entries, your risk is going to be less, and you could size in accordingly. So if you were patient and you wanted to add more into the low threes instead of selling like I did, you have the opportunity to do that because you probably could afford to bring your average up a bit because now your risk level changes as this fails to break down and that comes up. Your entry will maybe be in the 280s, 90s. So even if you do stop out, you're still setting yourself up for a small gain or a scratch. So anything but red, looking good. But yeah, so that's 9, and we'll see the entries here with other plays as well, like Pola here. What day did I trade this? The 8th. That is that big day. Okay. Probably another play that I sold too soon. Let's see here. Oh, not that long of a trade. Okay. 593, 653. Oh, yes, I remember this right into the pop. This one ended up failing. Low float. Was in a pretty warm sector. Other plays in the sector were heating up. But we got this failure to break down, and I totally missed the morning. And in my eyes here, it was actually a little bit more of a risky trade. But what I wanted to go over was kind of the entry point where I do have some tight risk, risking off the 580s, 570s, being in the 590s. This is double bottomed right above a key level with VWAP, and it was doing insane volume. So I thought actually this was going to head higher, but I decided to sell into the pop when it was getting all choppy, realizing that I was probably in towards the end of the move. But being in, excuse me, being in where I was, that offered the opportunity to sell into this pop instead of buying somewhere up here and then not having the opportunity to sell higher. So not the best example here of a good entry, but still not bad of an example because it lined up pretty well to where it was closer to the bottom end of the range here with 650 being the top end and the 560s, 70s being the bottom end. being somewhat closer to the bottom end set me up for good risk reward. And if it were to get stuffed at the top end of the range, I'm able to sell right into it. IMPP was the other play. This one, hot sector. What were we doing here? What kind of move was it? 56. Multi-day bounce. Okay, so we had this solid push here, and now we're trading the failure to break down. It was less impressive, I remember, than I had expected, considering how hot these plays were. But we had this choppy move from the 5-ish area, high fours, to the high fives. Just quick multi-day bounce. I usually say how they spike 30% or so. This 25, 27% to 30%. So this offered the percentage gain. It was a little bit of a stressful move as it was pretty choppy. My average on this one was 5, and the reason it got there was because I started adding. I did chase, so that put me in for a little bit of a risky situation. As here on the double bottom, I could have really, if it were to fail or fake out, I would have lost more than I would have liked. Over 5% on that. So that wasn't the greatest move. I should have been more patient with the ads and got more here when it was confirming rather on the front side here. Uh, so that's also a good example of being patient with my ads as well, letting the play develop. So we did get a solid double bottom at 475 here, and we just started uptrending, and I sold in the 560. Just exhausted of this choppiness, thinking this would go higher quicker. So still not bad. You get the quick reversal. Um, being in at 5 here, I feel is a little different than being in at 5 over here, because here you at least get the confirmation and some volume coming back. Here, with that average, that's a chase. You just got a solid move, 10% move from the mid fours to even higher than 10% to the low fives here. So getting some of my ads in the low fives here was not smart. I should have just stayed with my entry in the low 490s as it was breaking VWAP here. So I was looking at it as potential 20-cent risk on a starter. So that's not bad at all. And I should have been more patient instead of buying into this and bringing my average up. So that's the lesson there with that. But here we go, solid bounce. A bunch of the energy plays didn't really bounce the way I had wanted. Um, let's see here. USWS. I'm not gonna go over USWS because my S button is a pause button as well, and it just messes up the video. But we'll get into Agri. Here we go. This play, I'm assuming I was getting up front. Yes, I remember this. So here, this was a simple gapper. Solid bounce or solid gap up, low flow. Starting to become a warm sector here. Consumer staples. I got a bunch of those on watch for tomorrow. But point is with this one, the pattern was an open price play or a VWAP hold. Let's see, or a pre-market break is what it ended up being as well. So 233. That yeah. So here for me, I was starting off with a little bit of chase at the low 220s as this was breaking VWAP. Excuse me, and holding the open price play of 213. Just completely failing to break down, disappointing shorts. Buyers start coming in, shorts start covering. You get this little choppiness here where I was adding more into, brought my average up to become pretty much a pre-market high break. And from there we get a solid pop off, but it takes off a lot further than I thought. But starting off with a solid in the low 220s with a starter, I'm only risking 10 cents, which is just under 5% on a starter, not bad at all. So that set me up to slowly add in as it kept holding, and I ended up bringing my risk up a little bit to where my starter was. So my risk ended up being just about 10 cents as well. Again, so we got this quick move higher. I ended up selling into this pop in the 280s, right? Is that what the move was? Yeah, 233, 283, quick 50 cents. But it fails to break down. It keeps heading higher. So that's kind of quick overview of some of the plays I traded this week, how I traded them, how entries are kind of important. Um, Exits are as well, but I'm still working on that. I sell way too soon, just taking my quick percentage gains. So that's going to be a work in progress. But since that's the case, I'm gonna focus on my entries, get solid entries, put myself in a good position to profit on plays, even if they do end up failing. So that is that. Now let's dive into the watch list here. We got some solid moves, potential moves. Let's just start off with energy plays. They're kind of dying off. Not much going on with those. If they could potentially double bottom here, fail to break down, they could potentially start pushing back. But they all generally have this pattern where they're just fading now, not really doing much. USWS was on here. Could have gone over that. Might as well. Where are we? This day, all these plays were bouncing. I was in 168, a little bit under VWAP, but I was looking for the high day break here that it set because that's for me a good indicator of the momentum shift after a fade. And second one is it holding VWAP and failing to crack that. So I forgot how I bought this. I know I started off at 165. I'm not sure if I chased or if I waited here. I forgot. But point is, we get this slow uptrend, offers the percentage gain I wanted, and ends up having an offering, and it just shits the bed, and it's just failing to bounce from that. So yeah, energy plays seem to be done for now. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of consumer staple plays, so those are going to be on watch. Uh, some materials plays as well. But let's just dive into this. As well as healthcare. I'm also seeing some of those. If we look at the scanner here, bunch of healthcare, consumer staples, and services on watch here. So I already went over Muln. Kala here, choppy ass breakout. If this thing could fail to break down, this could seriously be a solid move. If it keeps failing to break 150s, 140 ish to break the 170 area. Ideally, doesn't gap up and just kind of take me out of the move. So if it does gap up a little bit, we'll look for it to fill the breakdown and hold the 170 area and perform an open price VWAP hold. But we'll see how it works out tomorrow morning. But this is a solid play. Still failing to break down. It is choppy, but I think it's still figuring out the direction considering its float. It might need to dip a little bit and trap shorts, suck them in some more, and then we'll get a serious move. So that's Kala, just looking for the failure to break down. SLDB here. Late day move, another healthcare play, solid push into the close. Just looking for a failure to break down. I'm not a huge fan of the float, but we'll see what happens if we get a 113 previous high daybreak. This might not even be a top watch in the morning. This might be one that I just end up taking off and replacing with something else. So yeah, these are all top watches, but they could easily change in the morning. What else do we got? What am I looking at? Vgfc. Take some of these off here. I'm not gonna be going over. Oh, popped up, perfect. So consumer staple play, solid spike, failing to break down now. You could play this as a bounce play over VWAP or just wait for the breakout, which is what I'm probably going to be doing. Um, yeah, looking for the 78 break to test one. I think Rkda might be in that same sector. Yes, same sector. Spike failing to break down as well. We'll be looking for the break of 190, 198. Same thing as well. Failing to break down. You could possibly play this as a VWAP hold. If it keeps failing to crack that, if volume comes back, we could possibly see a move from the VWAP area to test the breakout level. And then we'll see again later on if it fails to break down, consolidates a bit, and then breaks out of that range to have it perform a breakout over 198, 2-ish. SBFM, this one's a recent runner, same as DRCT, I believe, but this one hasn't really bounced yet. It's just failing to crack 250 here. The mid twos holding nicely. So I think if we get above VWAP, hold that nicely. Maybe get above the 3 area where it's been holding down the past couple days. With a float like this, I think we could possibly get a quick move to the mid to high 3s, possibly 4, where there's some solid resistance. Very choppy here last week. But yeah, that's going to be a potential bounce play. We've been going over these. I hope they're getting familiar with how I'm approaching them and the psychology behind them. TCBP, similar thing. Not my favorite just because it didn't really take off. The volume is there. I just wish it spiked a little bit more. But nonetheless, shorts are up decently. So I could see this, if this fails to break down, hold the VWAP, we could get a solid bounce play. Maybe if I miss that, if I'm too worried about that or I'm watching something else, maybe later on it could perform a breakout over the 143 area, but we'll see what happens. Healthcare stocks are kind of warm. They're all over here, but still need to get a sure sentiment. Nothing really leading the pack. Um, let's see as well. What do we got? What do we got? Agri. This is a bounce play. This one just recently bounced or spiked. I think I just went over it. I forgot. But yeah, failing to break down. Lower float. Relatively warm sector now. This one could potentially break out. We'll see if that happens. But for now, just looking for a failure to keep cracking 3 and a bounce move, possibly touch 4. I'll probably be out before that, but just looking for that pattern for the failure to break down, capture the short squeeze. If it heads higher, test the breakout level. Shorts fail to take it down again, and buyers keep holding it up around the breakout level. It could possibly get another short squeeze and get a solid breakout over 514, which is the high of that day. And who knows if it ends up trying to test 7. But yeah, this sector showing some possible upwards movement here. A lot of them are spiking and failing to break down, so that could possibly set up for some solid moves this coming week. So I'm just going to react. It's just something I'm seeing right now. I'm not going to put all my money into consumer staples. We're just going to wait for the patterns to come up and take the predictable part of the move. CLSD. Here we go. Choppy ass move. Healthcare play. Might take this off as a top watch. There's so many plays I'm going over. This is getting to be 25 minutes here soon. I don't want to get it to 30. It's going to just take way too long. So I might cut this short with some of these watches. But my bad. I accidentally paused it. Another consumer staple play. Spiking, holding up, failing to break down. This thing could be really nice over the mid 11s, maybe if you want to wait for 12. But this thing here holding up, bouncing nicely, holding VWAP nicely, low float. Seems to be a solid sector right now. So gonna look for this to be a solid breakout as well. We'll see where this touches. If it could take off, who knows? But you know me, I'm gonna be trading it conservatively as usual. So yeah, I think that is it. Yeah, I went over this previous high daybreak if this could work out, but pretty big float. It's going to need to have another strong volume day to hold up and squeeze all those shorts out. So yeah, we'll just wrap it up there. Um, I hope this was useful. If there's any questions, comment them below, or maybe even on Twitter. That might be useful. I have a lot of alerts out there on Twitter every day, going over plays, alerting new plays, my trades and whatnot. So that could be an option for you to start learning some more from these videos and how I trade. So that's at Pack a Punch Traders, PAPT, and it should pop up. Um, so that's that. Please like, subscribe if any of this was useful. We got plenty of content like this coming out pretty much daily. So most of the videos aren't going to be this long, but they get to about 10-15 minutes. So yeah, I hope everyone has had a great weekend. Study up, let's rest up and get ready for tomorrow. Besides that, please like, subscribe, and if there's any questions, drop them below. Thank you very much.